Alright y'all, welcome back to Combat Arms channel. Now today's video we're checking out another unit from the German Armed Forces. A lot of y'all have been sending a lot of very good recommendations, so I have a lot of German units on my list now. So the German Marines was definitely a big one that I wanted to check out next. So that's what we're doing today. It's also called, well, I guess it's called the Seebataillon battalion. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird. German is a lot harder for me to say than I expected. But yeah, we're going to be checking out the German Marines. It's always good to check out the Marines. And, you know, we've seen a lot of different levels of Marines, because you have the Royal Marines, which are pretty high up there. Obviously, U.S. Marines. We checked out the Dutch Marines, and I think we've checked out a few others. But it's always cool to sort of compare how one country's Marines are with another country's Marines. Gives us a general idea of how the military is and what their standards and training are like. And of course, we always check out the special forces because it gives us a better idea of how the funding is for the military in general. And again, sort of what the country's priorities are. But the Marines are a good one because that's very synonymous with other countries. Marines pretty much have one job, and that's to utilize the Navy to do, amphibious landings and utilize them for transport and do sort of amphibious operations. So yeah, we're going to be checking out the German Marines today. This video is about 5 minutes long, but so far it looked pretty solid. This is from the German Armed Forces YouTube channel, and they actually have a lot of solid videos. It is going to be an auto translate to English, but I think for the most part we're just going to be looking at the gear. But yeah, let's check it out. It'll give us a pretty good idea of what the Marines look like for sure. So let's get into it.
Premiere, das Seebataillon übt erstmals
Oh my god. Okay, so yeah, the translation is immediately super bad. So okay, we can focus on the gear. I guess that's the thing we like to do initially. And so far looks pretty interesting. A weird mix of solid MP5 with old school helmets, and then I guess these black, maybe like dry suits. So okay, yeah, we'll check out the gear and not focus so much on the translation.
Aller Kräfte.
Okay, G36s. Fast roping is always fun.
Eckernförde an der Ostsee. Seit April 2014 ist hier das neu aufgestellte Seebataillon der Marine zu Hause. Bis zu 800 Soldaten sind in diesem Verband.
Oh wow,
Zum
it's
ersten
not that
Mal
much.
üben alle Teilbereiche gemeinsam und zeigen, wozu dieses Multitool in der Lage ist.
Das Seebataillon ist das Multitool der deutschen Marine. Wir haben sehr viele Fähigkeiten am 1.4.
That's an interesting way
in
of
diesem
putting
Bataillon
it.
vereint. Wir haben alle grünen Kräfte der Marine zusammengezogen, mit Ausnahme der Kampfschwimmer. Wir haben eine Minentaucherkompanie, eine Bordeinsatzkompanie, eine Küsteneinsatzkompanie und eine Aufklärungskompanie als.
Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. Again, they're sort of using the term multi-tool, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, they're basically saying the Marines are responsible for a lot of different operations, or can be responsible for a lot of different operations. So they're saying like a combat swimmer, they were saying rescue diver, and all this stuff, which yeah, makes sense. Again, the U.S. military, or at least the United States, has the U.S. Coast Guard, which can be utilized for other things. But we've seen with other countries how the Marines can be used for those sort of operations that the Coast Guard would generally be used for. Because I'm not sure if it's common in other countries to have their own Coast Guard that's dedicated to these certain things. But we've definitely seen it where the Marines are capable of taking over these other functions. Like we've seen with I got this wrong in a previous video, but the Danish company Maersk, like the shipping company, yeah, they had a big focus on just protecting that asset and protecting that sort of that company and that economical.
Economic.
So if a company has like a big, economic asset, they can utilize their military to sort of beef up the security for that. And we've sort of seen that in a few different aspects, but it's kind of cool how they're saying the Marines are the multi-tool of their armed forces. I kind of like that phrase.
Als Einsatzkräfte hier in diesem Bataillon.
Das Übungsszenario, die Evakuierung aus Krisengebieten durch eine schnelle Seeabholung. Mit dem Befehl Pre-Landing startet der Einsatz. Zuerst sind die Minentaucher vor Ort. Bei einer Wassertiefe von weniger als 3 Metern erkunden sie den ausgewählten Küsten- und anschließend.
Okay, so they're sort of clearing everything out before an actual landing. That's interesting. I'd never really considered that some people would be doing that, which makes a lot of sense. So,
Wenn nötig, beseitigen sie dabei gefundene Kampfmittel. Damit der Anlandungskanal sicher ist, werden im Bereich befindliche Boote durch die Bordeinsatzkompanie abgefangen. Das Aufstoppen der Boote und der Boarding-Einsatz sorgen in diesem Fall für ein Abdrehen des unbekannten Seefahrzeugs.
Okay, so I don't know, it made it sound like they were using that sort of element to sort of clear the landing sites, I guess, is what you would want to call it. But I mean, generally that would be reserved for like pathfinders or maybe even like special forces to do some sort of clearance for that. So I might have been hearing that wrong, but it seems like that's what they were doing. But now they're also, you know, there's like a random vehicle that they're trying to turn away. So I'm not sure if they have this unit that's also utilized to get people out of the area, but I'm not sure if this is like an explosives ordnance disposal team or if they're just utilizing this team to open up room for the landing zone. So hopefully we'll get a little more clarification.
Besondere Aufmerksamkeit bedarf natürlich die hohe Erfordernis des Trainings. Das ist das Allerwichtigste. Wir können eine solche Operation nicht durchführen, wenn wir das nicht wieder und wieder trainieren, Handlungsabläufe festigen, Einzeltätigkeiten schulen, einfach um auch sicher zu gehen, dass jeder Soldat an der richtigen
Okay,
Zeit
so they're just saying do like a specialized schools for everything.
Ist der Anlandungskanal frei, kommt die Küsteneinsatzkompanie kurz Keck zum Einsatz. Es wird eine erste Sicherung des Landungsabschnittes errichtet. Von See und aus der Luft gelangen die Kräfte an Land. Alle Soldaten der Vorausteams sind deshalb auch im
Fast-Verfahren
vom Helikopter ausgebildet.
So these seem like the more traditional Marines for sure.
Sobald die Vorauskräfte das Zeichen geben, landen die Hauptkräfte am Küstenabschnitt.
Okay. So yeah, it did seem like that other unit was sort of used to just clear the landing zone for the rest of the Marines. So I think now we're getting a better idea or a better picture of the traditional Marines. When you picture Marines, this is generally what you would see. But I like how they're using these small landing craft. That's usually something you would only see with like a Marine recon. And I think this is just the normal Marine we're seeing right now and not really any sort of specialized reconnaissance unit. But yeah, so they had the landing team come in, they cleared the area, and now we have the normal Marines coming in. So you can see they're utilizing rafts, they can utilize helicopters, basically whatever they can use to actually push people onto the beach or, you know, do that quick landing. They're sort of just trying to get a foothold at this point. So it's cool to see what sort of vehicles you can utilize. We've seen with other Marines, people have like some pretty solid landing craft, and I was pretty impressed just to see the quality and how new the landing craft actually were compared to the AAVs that we use in the U.S. Marine Corps. Those were pretty rough and they're pretty scary to just do anything with. But these guys seem like they have a whole different way of approaching it, which is super cool to see.
Zeitgleich kommen mit einem Landungsboot gepanzerte Fahrzeuge an.
Interesting equipment though. Okay. Okay.
Diese fahren zum Treffpunkt mit den zu evakuierenden Personen. Die Soldaten sichern unterdessen mit schweren Maschinengewehren und Granatmaschinenwaffen den Landungsbereich.
Okay, so they're evacuating people.
Wenn alle Evakuierten am Sammelpunkt eingetroffen sind, geht es in Kolonne zurück zum Landungsboot. Sind hier alle Fahrzeuge wieder verladen, verlassen die Kräfte den Küstenabschnitt. Nach etwas mehr als einer Stunde ist die gesamte Operation beendet.
Okay, I did not know what sort of operation they were actually showing in this video. So this is sort of like, this kind of reminds me of Dunkirk, and I'm not sure if that's a good comparison, but this is sort of like a rescue operation. So I'm not sure if this is more of like a humanitarian effort or if they're just doing something to clear the area of like evacuees for whatever other reason. But yeah, pretty interesting to see the Marines being utilized for this sort of rescue operation. Again, generally the Coast Guard and the National Guard would like work together to do any sort of evacuation or anything like this. But yeah, it's super interesting to see. You can see the Marines actually, they got on the beach and they pushed up and pulled security. So it seems like there is generally some hostile force involved in what's going on here, but it's kind of confusing to me. So if you guys could provide some insight as to what specifically this operation is, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of confusing to see. Now we can see they also utilize this cool landing craft to get their vehicles on shore to actually evacuate everyone. So in the U.S. Marines and U.S. military in general, I guess, we have LCACs, which is basically just like a big hovercraft. It's like this big like raft almost. It has these massive fans on the back, and that's what we would usually utilize to transport vehicles onto the shore. So it's kind of interesting to see this whole landing craft, but it seems like it does a little better job at security. And you can see they pushed the vehicles out, they did the evacuation, and then they got the vehicles back onto that landing craft. And again, we've seen a lot of different equipment. We've seen G36s. I think we saw an MP5, or maybe it could have been a G3. But we have all these different weapons. We have different helmets. We have different body armor, it looks like. So we have a bunch of different people wearing different things. And I'm not sure if it's just, units working with each other that get slightly different gear, or if it's just mismatched in general. But okay, let's press on.
Das Zusammenspiel hat gut funktioniert. Man muss natürlich sagen, dass auch gerade so ein Landungsboot kein Einsatzboot ist. Das heißt, das ist alles etwas künstlich. Aber auch die Zusammenarbeit mit dem Hubschrauber hat gut geklappt. Die Minentaucher haben den Strandabschnitt freigeräumt, kräftig nachgezogen worden. Alles in allem war das eine sehr gute Übung, die gezeigt hat.
Yeah, so it was more of a rescue operation.
Insgesamt 90 Soldaten sind bei dieser ersten gemeinsamen Fähigkeitsschau des Seebataillons beteiligt. Den widrigen Wetterbedingungen zum Trotz klappt das Zusammenspiel der Kräfte bei der Operation von Meer zu Land und zurück. Das Multitool der Marine hat eindrucksvoll gezeigt, wozu dieser in der Bundeswehr einmalige Verband in der Lage ist.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I would definitely say it is unique to the German Armed Forces. Yeah, so we haven't really seen that with any other Marine element so far in any other country where they're utilized in that sort of, in those sort of regards. But again, there was a lot of like, and it might just be the U.S. military in me where everything is so uniformed. But we saw some people with helmet covers, some without helmet covers, some with the Mitch style helmets as well. So I'm not sure. It could have been like different people just with different equipment. But yeah, I guess this was just a general rescue operation. But I'm not really sure when you'd push Marines for a rescue operation like this. Unless, again, it was some sort of evacuation. Like, okay, so I'm going to have to cut this video a little bit short. But, okay, yeah. Again, super interesting. And it was an interesting demonstration that we don't normally see with Marines. And, again, I think Dunkirk is a good example. But, yeah, I don't know if they should be training for their country to be taken over and then have to do the civilian evacuation, but it might be for other purposes. So again, I think it's just a little bit alien to me because we don't really do this in the U.S. Marines. So if you guys could assist with my understanding in the comment section, I would really appreciate it. But right now, it just seems a little bit strange because we don't really do that in the U.S. Marines. But okay, overall, it just seems like a civilian evacuation with the military presence and the military just being used for security. So if you guys could give some examples of when that would be useful, I'd appreciate it. But again, I do hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you're a little bit confused or if this seems unorthodox to you as well, put that down in the comments section. But yeah, I think I might just be getting confused in general. But yeah, very cool to check out. Very awesome demonstration. I'm sure the general public likes to see this stuff, and they like to see the Marines doing this as opposed to the normal ground pounding work that they would normally do. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section regardless. I do appreciate you guys liking and commenting, and I appreciate the support from all of you, of course. So keep that coming. I will keep the videos coming. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. So I will see y'all in the next one.